Okay, so here is a quick video on thumbnails. So a couple of things. Just remember to create a new layer. Don't create your thumbnails on the background layer. And when I create my thumbnails, I like to use a hard edge brush versus a soft edge brush. It doesn't really matter, but it just is faster with a hard edge brush to get a nice silhouette. Then I like to zoom in and just make sure you're using a nice resolution. Go into image size. Um, Increase that resolution if you need to. Remember, you can always change your resolution by going into image size and scaling that up. If you scale it up a little bit, it's not going to matter too much. There's new algorithms in Photoshop that will reduce the pixelation. Sometimes I like to make it really big, so I might go up 200%. Instead of going to 11 by 17, I might go up to 34 by 22 at 72 DPI. That just lets me scale in even more without losing quality. And then, yeah, I begin the process of just creating these silhouettes. The whole idea is I don't really care about what the subject matter is. Let's say I'm doing, monsters, which is a pretty easy, um, broad, idea concept to work with. I'm not thinking about the final form. I'm just looking more at abstraction. I'm creating abstract shapes first, and then once I create these abstract shapes, uh, once I do that, then I'll think about that final form. Because the whole idea is to be surprised and inspired by the silhouette itself. So let's say you wanted to do like a centaur or some mythical creature. Don't start by creating a horse's body. Just create something abstract and see if you can pull a horse's body out of it. And then every time I make a thumbnail, I try to randomize it a little bit so the last one isn't like the first one, just to create a sense of variety on the page. And sometimes I work fast, sometimes I work slow. I'm just kind of thinking about the shapes and the forms and what could be possible, but not really constraining myself to any particular type of shape. And I don't really care about the quality either. It's like at this stage, quality is not what's important. So when you do thumbnails, quantity is more important than quality. You want to have a lot of thumbnails versus a few thumbnails. So that's what you're thinking about quantity over quality. So as I'm doing these, what I might want to do is make selections using the marquee tool. You can hit M or Shift M to cycle through the marquee tools to make selections, and then use Option Drag to create duplicates, and then use Transform. So Command or Control T. And when I use Transform, I will, in the Transform tool, I'll right click and choose Flip Horizontal to create that symmetry duplicate. So I don't have to start with symmetry, but I can then use the actual symmetry tool, which can be found in Preferences in Photoshop. Use the Direct Selection tool to drag the symmetry line. And then once I have a symmetrical form, I can use that symmetrical line to introduce more symmetry into the thumbnail itself. And I think that way, again, you're not thinking about the final form. You're kind of surprised by it. When you use the symmetry tool, you have to make sure you apply the transformation first too. And then once in symmetry, I can start adding more details to that thumbnail. So maybe initially that initial silhouette was a body of some sort, and then I can start adding limbs and appendages and tentacles and arms and robotic parts, mechanical parts. I can hit X to switch to white, and then I can carve into the form. So now I'm carving into it, which is kind of like erasing, but it's just faster to hit X versus then going to the eraser tool, because I can hit X, go to white, and then hit X again and go to black. And adding all sorts of surface details as well. So I'm kind of now thinking more about the design of the silhouette. I'm still not thinking about what the end result should be. I'm just going through a discovery phase, kind of looking for all sorts of um, happy little accidents and not really being too concerned about the final um, actual design, but kind of playing with ideas, looking for something that's pleasing and interesting and imaginative too. And that's kind of the point of this, because if you focus on quantity, you'll have more shapes to play with and more ideas will come to mind as you're playing with those shapes. Um, so you may start to see arms and legs and what you have. You may not. Um, it just depends on what that initial silhouette looked like. So here I'm kind of painting out something that looks like it could be a humanoid, a creature, a human-like creature of some sort, you know, with a pose of some sort, digging into it, maybe finding where the head is and where the shoulders are as I'm painting in Photoshop, just adding all sorts of little details just for fun and just thinking about what this could be. But not really, I'm not really married to any final look. So here again, I'll probably take something, even though it's becoming what looks like a person of some sort, making a selection this time with the lasso tool. And again, doing that duplicate process, um, this time hitting Control or Command J to create a new duplicate layer and dragging that over and flipping it with the flip horizontal using the transform tool. Now, in this circumstance, I painted white into um, the character, and if I overlap it, then you would see white on top of what's below. In order to fix that, I can use multiply mode in the layers panel, and basically what that will do is it will make all of my white pixels transparent, so that the pixels that were white will basically go away, and I'll see through the layer now. And then I can hit Command E and combine those two into that symmetrical look once again. So there's a lot I can do here just to blend the two overlapping layers. And now, what was probably once some sort of humanoid type creature becomes something completely different as I add more white into the image, starting to see a face of some sort. So that's all part of the creative process. You're not being held to a single idea. New ideas can come to you. You can have all these little surprises, um, and make it interesting like that. So I would basically work fast, think about quantity, don't worry about the final subject matter, explore and generate new and interesting ideas um, as you do this. It's all about surprising yourself with the silhouettes that you generate and using your imagination to the fullest capacity to just come up with something new and unique in the process. And that's kind of what thumbnailing is. It's a form of brainstorming to come up with a final idea. So hope this helps you a little bit with thumbnailing, and thank you.